dating company with operations in 5 countries. Now, before I go on, let me show you the problem. Now, the average user has 108 apps installed. We just don't need that many apps. Now, some of these are review apps like Yelp. Others are niche recommendations apps like TripAdvisor. Others focus on a particular community like singles or golfers. And others deal with a place or a city. And others show businesses and places around you. And finally, there are check-in apps like Foursquare and social discovery apps like Entro. So we've got all these apps, but not one of them could connect a user to recommended experiences that cover the full range of their interests. And what's more, the vast majority of experiences are inherently social. Yet there aren't any apps that are able to find experiences that match the location and preferences of a man and his wife, or a group of colleagues, or 2 friends meeting in a new part of town. Introducing Hey Let's, a social experience recommendation engine that says, hey, let's do something to connect users to experiences they care about, and to friends and other people that share their interests. Now, not only does Hey Let's replace dozens of apps, it replaces entire categories. In addition, it features a unique layer of social functionality that connects people to each other through their interests. Now, this is a significant step forward, so how do we do it? Well, the social graph is the set of links between an individual and their first and second degree contacts. But in Facebook, you're either a friend or not a friend. No weighting is given to shared interests. The interest graph is the unique set of interests we all have. But no one's really been able to work out how to capture, grow, and importantly, leverage the interest graph. Until now. Hey Let's blends a user's social graph with their interest graph to dynamically deliver personalized recommendations to the user. You can select an experience and then view a list of friends whose interests and locations are compatible, or you can select a friend first and then view experiences that are right for both of you. With Hey Let's, where interests are aligned, you can make meaningful connections with people on the periphery of your social graph, or even beyond. By injecting purpose into connecting with second-degree contacts, the possibilities of social networking are extended exponentially, disruptively. Well, that's the concept, so what does it look like? Well, this is the home screen. Tap on Do Something to see personalized recommendations. Tap on Friends to find new experiences to share, enhance your relationships, get out of the old routines. Or go to It People to find opinion leaders that like the same things you do and see what they recommend. So you could find the person in San Francisco who's got the most popular fashion content, for example. Or meet new people that share your interests, maybe a new tennis partner or someone to date. Now, all of this transforms the user experience into one of continual discovery, as you're presented with new things to do, new reasons to connect with friends, and a whole new way of meeting people. So what's the content? Well, like Twitter, most people will consume recommendations passively, but some create their own recommendations that center on interests and activities they care about. Because Hey Let's is integrated with Facebook, these recommendations also appear on your wall and are shared with your friends. As recommendations accrue likes, they enter the recommendation stream of people with matching interest graphs. The more people that like or share your recommendations, the more status points you earn. Now you can earn status badges, compete for titles, and join the It People list of opinion leaders. This social gaming functionality encourages and incentivizes quality content generation. And rather than users' friends being swamped with tedious check notifications, they're shown entertaining recommendations. Our community managers curate active content, so quality content is also accurate content, with the most popular becoming a trending experience. So we can see how fun and useful Hey Let's will be, but how do we make money? Well, trending experiences are popular by definition, so it's easy to approach a business and say, hey, 5,000 people viewed a positive recommendation at your business last week. We'd like to put a link in the content to make it easy for them to make a purchase from you. User redemption earns Hey Let's a commission, very straightforward. But by crowdsourcing in this way, Hey Let's is connecting consumers and businesses in a way that emphasizes how popular the business is. And unlike the daily deal model, there's no need for huge discounts, the relationship with the business can last indefinitely, and the business's brand is enhanced rather than damaged by being associated with deep discounting. And businesses that upload content also have the option of paying for higher rank. And products and services that can't be framed as an experience can be served as highly targeted display ads. Which brings me to marketing. For a new social media venture, we have a unique advantage. We're able to seed Hey Let's with Fast Slice 200,000 plus members. But in order to scale quickly and cheaply, Hey Let's needs to go viral. Hey Let's content isn't trivial ephemera, like checking notifications of the majority of tweets. Most content will be popular by definition. So when your friends share their Hey Let's content with you, you'll be getting something valuable. You'll be getting something that cuts through the noise. You'll be getting something that you want to share. Because all shared content has a link, your friends can join Hey Let's using Facebook Connect and see their own recommendations within a few seconds. But there's more to marketing than that. I understand the value of PR. Now, Fast Life succeeded partly due to a huge amount of exposure in media outlets all over the world. And to promote Fast Life, we filmed Love Incorporated, a primetime reality series that aired in Canada last year. It was great for business and we got paid for it too. On Tuesday, I had a meeting with Tori Spelling's producer about filming a reality series here in the US, focusing on Hey Let's. I've founded businesses before, so I know that there will be threats and opportunities that are impossible to anticipate at this stage. However, based on these fairly conservative assumptions, there is a very significant opportunity here. Our plan gets us to 10 million members by the end of 2013, and operating profits approaching $40 million in 2014. The concept's there, the technology's there, now it's about execution. But remember, I've built an international events business. I've formed relationships with hundreds of contractors, venues and strategic partners all over the world. Fast Life hosts thousands and thousands and thousands of events every year, and it all works like clockwork. I'll be bringing this proven ability to execute to Hey Let's. We've developed the product on $350,000 of seed funding from myself and one other investor. We're almost ready for alpha testing after starting development in November last year. Now we're looking for an investment of $3 million to go to market and carry us through to cash flow positive. If you agree that by blending the interest graph with the social graph, we have a unique opportunity to enhance the time we spend with friends, partners, colleagues, and people we care about in the real world, then I'd love to talk with you. Thank you.
That's a great pitch, Justin. So, hey, let's write a check.
That's the idea.
So we have time for one or two questions. I'm going to pick on one of the VCs in the audience or someone. Paul.
You said you developed a product. I was a little bit confused about this particular slide.
Okay.
So you don't have a product yet.
Look, it's almost ready for alpha, so we've got a couple of bits of integration to do, and then we're ready to go. It's been 10 months in the build. It's a complex piece of kit, and we've solved some very significant problems, but we're pretty much there.
Sure. Sorry, can you speak up a bit?
Well, at the moment it's iPhone. It's built in Java, but yes, we'll be doing Android and the whole bit afterwards.
Great, thanks, Justin. Good
Thank
job.
you.
So next up we have Milos from Suma.
Hi everyone, my name is Milos and I'm a founder and a CEO of Suma. Suma is a cloud-based business intelligence tool that's targeting over 5 million hugely underserved hospitality businesses worldwide. By hospitality I mean cafes, bars, restaurants, bakeries and similar. So far we are 3.5 years young and we have managed to capture 10% of the New Zealand market. Even more importantly, we have achieved this without single sales staff on a payroll. One of our customers is Dunkin' Donuts New Zealand as well. Last year we have raised capital to allow us to expand into Australia, and I'm here today to seek additional capital to allow us to repeat our New Zealand success into the USA market. So let me tell you how we started. One of our strengths is that we have started by solving a big customer problem. 5 years ago, I had invested in one of the largest New Zealand coffee chains, which is called Columbus Coffee. As you can see on a screen, this is what we got after we spent $100,000 on the outfit. And you can imagine frustration that I had as an investor in this business with regards to information management. I had no idea where is the money coming from. Is it food or a beverage or a coffee? Is it morning or breakfast or dinner? So this problem was 30 times bigger for my franchisor. So to cut a long story short, franchisor of one of the largest coffee chains in New Zealand, working with myself, and what we have developed is hospitality-focused, affordable, and a very easy to use business intelligence solution. So what are some of our unique advantages? Obviously for hospitality we have to be affordable. I had lots of experience with traditional business intelligence solutions like Cognos and like business objects, and they are not well suited for hospitality. So we have developed something which is really affordable, and even more importantly, it has a laser focus on hospitality. We have a huge IP, which is very hard to replicate, that we have developed around functionality of our product, which is based on feedback from hundreds of leading operators and managers in the hospitality industry. We also develop extensive technology around data collection, filtering, and optimization. And we have best practice dashboards. So when we go and present to our customers, most of them see immediate benefits of our system. So how we make money? So far we have 200 customers with approximately 1,000 physical locations across Australia and New Zealand. We have a very simple subscription model which starts at $95 per month per physical outlet, and with add-ons it can go up to $150. And as I said, we already captured 10% or even more, approximately 10% of New Zealand hospitality market, which is approximately 4,000 stores in total. Our pricing model is based on value-based pricing rather than cost plus 20% or any other amount. Typically, we provide around 300% ROI to our customers, and we save them approximately at least 5 hours every month. We increase their profitability by 2 to 3%. How are we going to sell this? We have 3 channels. One channel is through point-of-sale vendors. We partner with the point-of-sale vendors. Casio is a very strong supporter in Australia and New Zealand. I'm having a meeting in London with Casio Global Head Office. So point-of-sale vendors are selling it as an add-on to their existing solution. Very few point-of-sale companies have decent reporting, and even with top point-of-sale companies like Micros, like Radiant, which is NCR now, Dunkin' Donuts chose us over their own point-of-sale back-office reporting. So there must be something that we do right. The other model is direct sales to large customers. So anybody with 50 outlets or more, we will approach them directly, and it's a traditional VI sale, except that we get an advantage when we're competing with big competitors because of our focus and affordability. So in terms of competition, big corporate vendors, we already won against most of these names here because of, again, affordability and focus on the industry. Point-of-sale back-office solution. Vast majority of point-of-sale companies do want to do business with us because they see the advantages of having affordable business intelligence as part of their core product offering. However, our biggest competitor is actually do nothing. Out of those 5 million, there will be lots of people who will tell us that it's all here, or they don't need anything else. But we see actually some of these people that told us 3 years ago they don't need it, they're now coming back and saying, oh wow, we got really good feedback from some other people, we would like to try the product. So our team consists, I'm a founder, I spend my life in basketball and relative success, relative being keyword, but I spend my life in IT, project management and development. Co-founder is Graham Tate. He's a managing director and founder of that large coffee franchise in New Zealand, which won Supreme Franchise Award twice after they started using our system. It was unheard of for somebody to get Supreme Franchise Award twice in a row. James Stainton is our general manager. He had been running the largest New Zealand point-of-sale company for approximately 10 years. He had incredible experience in point-of-sale, so he's the one who is charged with managing our channels because he knows how the point-of-sale companies work, and they're the biggest channel for us. So what we're seeking $3 million to allow us to repeat the model in USA. Obviously, we're adopting to whatever methods and strategies we need to adjust to the USA market. Our revenue target is approximately 100 million in 5 years, which translates into 120,000 outlets. USA alone has about 800,000 to 1 million hospitality businesses. Well, our team have a strong commitment to USA, which means our key people are ready to move here and do whatever is necessary to make things happen. From investment perspective, it's obviously an opportunity for a fast growth. Market risk is minimized. We have customers like Dunkin' Donuts and another dozen chains that are already paying us for 18 months and more. We have a minimal attrition, almost no attrition of customers, and we have obviously a proven sales and a product which we continue to innovate. So we strongly believe we can be a world leader in hospitality business intelligence solution, and anybody who would like to be part of the team, I would encourage you to come and talk to me after a session. Thank you very much.
Great job, Milos.
Thank you.
Great job. Any questions for Milos? Yeah.
I'm actually curious to hear any plans for further product evolution. Is there a roadmap?
Yes, definitely.
Additional features?
One of the biggest things we are working on is a global benchmarking, like Google Analytics. Because even though those single store guys can tell me everything is here, what they don't know is how they compare against the trend, whether it's in the Valley or States or globally. So that's one thing that we can offer that nobody else can. Another big one is weather impact. We are working with weather, basically downloading information about the weather and coming up with a weather index which will allow people to assess the impact of rain or sun or snow or whatever in their business, which will allow them to forecast next few days and potentially save cost. If they know that whenever it's raining, sales are 30% down, therefore cut you off.
So you already started answering my next question really, which was what are the plans to extract value out of the data that you are generating?
That's a very good question, if I may elaborate on this. We haven't built this into a model, but there is actually a bigger potential to make money by selling this data back to Coca-Cola, wine companies, coffee roasting companies. And some of our customers are actually making more money by using our system to collect data and then sell it to Coke, for example, Coca-Cola. So I haven't built that into a model, but there is a huge potential for completely different revenue stream for this. It's a smart observation.
So, Milos, if I could just point out that Ged is known for writing good checks.
Okay.
Just so you know for later. Thanks once again. So our next CEO is August, who's here now.
Yeah, thank you. Hi everyone. How are you guys doing? Good? I'm going to talk to you guys about a tool that we're building. It's called Who's Here Now. And my name is Oğuz Olkay. And before this venture, I was the e-commerce manager for Cisco WebEx, basically selling WebEx online. I'm going to walk over here to see my slides. So just give me a second. You guys see my screen now? Okay, awesome. All right. So we are all familiar with this scene, right? We go to conferences every year. We sit in a big room with big tables next to a lot of people that we don't know. And it's a day-long conference, sometimes multiple days. And when the speaker is not the best, you start getting bored and you're thinking to yourself, I paid so much money for this conference and I was really hoping to find a solution to the questions that I have and also meet some smart people and exchange some ideas. You might be looking for, let's say, something around infrastructure, and there could be an IT manager from Cisco sitting on the corner. Or you have some scalability problems, and there's an engineer from LinkedIn. A lot of people go to conferences to look for jobs, so you could be sitting there right next to a hiring manager, and you don't even know it. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve. Here's Who's Here Now. What you're looking at is a screenshot of a prototype that's available on who'sherenow.com. Basically, we're targeting to improve the quality and the quantity of your professional networking. We're going to let you log into an event during the registration. When you register for an event, you're automatically checked in, and you can see who else is coming. You can schedule meetings with these people. And also, when you go to an event, you can search for people that are relevant to your industry. And also, the tool itself will recommend to you people that you should be talking to based on your profiles. As I mentioned, this tool works before the event, during the event, and after the event. So you can go back and look at conversations that you had in the past. So if we had this tool here today, we would be able to see who's an investor and who's an entrepreneur. We would be able to see who's from Sweden, who's from Australia, and who's local, like us. We're from Montenegro. You guys will be able to see that today. All right, let's talk a little bit about the technology and monetization. It's really simple. When we talk to the event organizers and the sponsors, the people that have the booth, they're really talking about one thing. For the organizers, it's all about making more money. So how can we make them more money? By helping them generate more revenue from the people that buy the booths, by generating more revenue from the sales of these booths. So we enable the event organizer through an event management console to create their own event by integrating into their Eventbrite or Salesforce interface so that it's a lot quicker, no more hassle. Just get it done, and then it will provide you the platform for offer management. And what is offer management? Let's say that we go to the Dreamforce, the biggest event in San Francisco, right? And typically they pay around $20,000 for the small booths, and they get tons of foot traffic. But they're really not the people that they're looking for. Now that we have people's profile information, we'll be able to give them targeted offers. So someone from Oracle will be able to say, I want to give an offer to director level and above for companies 5,000 and more employees, and add saying, come to my booth and talk to me, and I'll give you a gift. And for that targeted offer, they're going to pay the event organizer. We're initially making the money on the SaaS model, so we're working with event organizers per attendee. But in the future, as we get a lot more accurate on this targeting, and we have a lot more users in our database, we're going to switch to a revenue share model with the event organizers. As you can see from the chart today, we're integrating with LinkedIn to pull your profile information, because that looks like the most reliable professional network today. But we're really very loosely coupled. So if tomorrow there's a new system, or if you don't even have any of these social accounts, you can just create one on our tool and continue. And that way they create a lot more revenue. And for the attendees, the customer satisfaction is very important, because those guys, if they're happy, they're going to come back next year. It's a returning customer for the event organizer, which is exactly what they want. Oops. All right, let's talk about the market. So our research tells us that this is a $100 billion market with a very healthy growth around 5.5%, and the event organizers are making good profit, 25 to 40% margin. But before talking a little bit more about this market, I want to talk to you about two key points there. So 4,000 companies in the United States, right? And the top 50 generate 45% of the revenue. That means if you get a few of these companies, you're going to get really good market share. And then the other way to look at it is, maybe in an indirect fashion, only in the Moscone Center in 1 year, there was over 1 million attendees. If you can partner with these venues, there's quite a few across America, like in Las Vegas, New York, Chicago. If you can work with these venues, then you can get to the event organizers indirectly. And what we believe, if you look 5 years ahead, when our tool becomes so popular and most of the event organizers are using it, as we make it a lot more efficient, as we help them generate more revenue, we don't only want to talk about like any other startup, yes, we're targeting 100 million in 5 years, but we want to talk about enlarging this big pie to make it maybe 150 million, 130 million for the event organizers, so that they squeeze a lot more money out of this ecosystem. Okay, so we're going after this market. Who else is? You know, as the social networking plus the location-based services becoming more and more popular, there's a lot of applications that are coming out, and they're saying, yeah, we're targeting the conferencing and event market. But what they don't get is that you have to work with the event organizer. And Sarah will confirm that if you don't work with the event organizer, there's no way you're going to get adoption on your tool. There's many tools out there, like Locast and Sonar and others, that are targeting only the attendee experience. And on this chart, plus organizer value means that you're targeting the organizer. You're giving the organizer some features, logistics, payments, and a low organizer value could be you're doing things behind the organizer's feedback, organizer's back, and they don't typically like that. And the plus attendee value is you're providing features for the attendee, and minus attendee value means that you could be building a tool like Presto or Evently for the event organizers, but you're really sacrificing on the attendee front. What we want to do is cover these two markets. We want to build first of all, we want to build the best attendee experience, but we want to do it in partnership with the event organizer. So a little bit about the team. Some casual pictures from the team because we believe it tells about the team itself. As I mentioned, I formerly worked at Cisco, and I was the e-commerce manager for WebEx. I sold a lot of products online, especially on packaging and pricing. So I know how to put our product out there and sell it online. Before that, I worked for the Cisco Quad product, which is the enterprise collaboration platform. So I also know how people collaborate on an online tool, how people talk to one another through the web. Jose is our CTO. He's a Stanford computer science, the smartest guy, the smartest developer I ever met. I worked with him at Cypress for almost 6 years before, and we've been friends ever since. And then Jason also is one of the smartest online marketing people that I met at WebEx. Him and I, we worked around 5 years together, 4.5 years together, and he's really great at understanding what makes a user tick on the website. How can you take this user and channel them into a purchase? What's a good way to direct traffic? And I also want to talk to you about two of the consultants that we work with. Sadep is a product manager for WebEx Event Center, and she's the expert in the domain. She pretty much knows, so I'd like to say pretty much every event organizer. She talks to them all the time, gets market requirements from these people. And also David built the Cisco Quad user experience for communities and posts. So he's the expert on information architecture, how people engage with a tool at that capacity. I'm just going to talk to this a little briefly because it's going to come up. Actually, I'm going to skip this because it's also on this slide. Here I'm sharing with you our roadmap. We started in April. We put together a prototype, which you can see, as I mentioned, on who'sherenow.com. It's built with HTML5 now. But we're also working with an iPhone and Android app at this point. And as the development is continuing, we have 2 events that we're going to, one on October 10th and one on October 24th. And then with the upcoming releases, we're taking it to bigger and bigger events. And we're learning from the customer, and we're improving the tool. And I just need to make this a little quicker, so I'm just going to say it very fast. We need 2 more people to help us build the next phases of the product. All right, so the ask is $750,000 for the seed round. Right now, we're going to need 4 developers for the iPhone, iPad, Android, and then HTML5. We're also going to add some new features on the API as well. We need half a user experience person and half a salesperson, because initially we're focusing on building the sales process. And as we grow into the growth mode with the low-touch model, we're going to need more salespeople to reach out to other people and expand into the US and the globe. And we're going to need some infrastructure expenses. For the first year, we're expecting to get 12 event organizers. And one thing that I forgot to mention, which I think is critical for us, is we're starting global. We have an event in China in March, and we're flying over there. We're going to go to an event of 2,000 people. So we're building this globally from the get-go. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. All right.
So any questions for August?
So do you get the event organisers first and then the end users, or the other way around, or how do you get both?
It's the event organizers first, and the event organizer, when they send out the registration email, you get a confirmation saying that, thank you for registering, we're going to use this tool, and here's your checking code. And then you'll download this app, select items from the agenda, see who else is coming, and then when you are at the event, it's actively promoted by the event organizer.
Great, thanks, August.
All right, thank you.
Now we have Hyperfair. Is Andrea here? Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Andrea, CEO at Hyperfair. We founded the company in Italy about 2 years ago. And then last year we relocated to San Francisco, and we're now an American company. So today I'd like to talk to you about trade shows. And at the end of the day, when we speak about trade shows, it comes down to two elements. One is cost, how much money you pay to attend a trade show. And the other one is the number of leads that you can generate by attending the trade show. So the way those two elements relate to each other will determine how successful your attendance at a trade show will be. Now with this said, let's go over some history about trade fairs, okay? So the first form of trade fairs were village fairs. People exchanging livestock and goods, and then these turned into trade fairs, the way we all know them today. So people gathering at a certain place at the same time to conduct business. And then a few very cool companies came along, and here comes the next level of trade shows, which is virtual trade shows. The problem we were trying to solve is that trade shows have somehow lost their appeal. But as entrepreneurs, we need to attend trade shows and we need to generate leads. So this is why we came out with the idea of virtual trade shows. A virtual trade show is something that can be in addition to the physical one, so a pre or a post event, or it can be a standalone virtual trade shows. And it's time bound. So it runs for 3 days, 9 to 6. And here's what it looks like. Okay, we are going to go over the video later on. Basically, it's a 3D reproduction of all the typical areas that you may find at a physical trade show, and people walk around through their avatars, and they're able to hear one another's voices to engage. They can communicate using text chat. There is an audio-video call. We have Skype integrated in the platform. And the main benefit about it is that, of course, you can save time and money, but most importantly, you can do here in 1 hour what would take you about 1 day at a physical trade show. And I'm talking about the number of people that you can meet there. And how does this work? This works thanks to an automated recommendation system that will give you suggestions based on your personal profile. So let's say that I'm a buyer here. The system, as soon as I walk in, starts giving me recommendations, and it says, why don't you go talk to John Smith, who is the sales director at BMW. So I just click there, and here comes the profile, and I can go to this booth, I can give him a call, I can schedule a meeting, or I can send him a message. Our go-to-market strategy is to partner with trade show organizers, such as Reed Exhibitions, for example, or CEA, which is an association that puts on CES, and to have them sell virtual trade shows to exhibitors, sponsors, and attendees. We are in a large and fast-growing market, approximately 2 billion, but most importantly, there are over 16,000 events that are hosted every year worldwide. And we have already signed up 3 of them. So we are hosting our first 3D virtual events by the end of this year. The first one is with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's a 2 Machineries virtual trade show. The second one is with a small trade show organizer, and it's a travel and tourism trade show. And the third one, which is the most important one, is with a well-known German trade show organizers, and it's about green tag machineries. We have a few competitors. Unisphere is the market leader, and all the others are the copycats. And to give you some numbers, the company is $15 million in revenue, and it just got bought a few months ago for $35 million from Intercall, which is a web conferencing provider. And this is what their technology looks like. So it's basically a website, very static, no immersion, no people walking around, and when you click on one of the booths, this is what you get. So it's a different web page, and once again, there is no interaction, no immersivity, no people walking around. So they were pretty good at corporate events, but they're still striving to penetrate the trade show segment. So basically, why are we different? We have a 3D environment, they don't. We have immersivity, they don't. We have multi-avatar interaction, they don't. But most importantly, we have the automated recommendation system. And our technology was the only one that was developed in consulting with trade show organizers. So we actually went to talk to those guys before we started developing the platform, and we asked them, why aren't you using the technology that is out there? And they told us that they had tried that before, but it was not effective enough in terms of recreating the dynamics that you should typically have at a physical trade show. So that's why we came up with the idea of the 3D world and the avatars interaction. Our revenue model is very simple. So we partner with trade show organizers. We license the platform to them for free, and we share the revenues that come from fees from exhibitors, sponsors, and attendees. So to make an example here, if you take PAX, which is a fairly small trade show, it's a gaming show. It has 250 exhibitors, 10 sponsors, and 5,000 attendees, and we charge them 20% of the price that they typically pay at a physical trade show. This turns out to be a $625,000 revenue that we equally share between us and the trade show organizer. We are moving to revenue stage, so we will generate $400,000 by the end of this year for the 3 events we're hosting, and we plan about hosting 300 events by year 4. That equals to $150 million in revenues. We have a great management team. Marco, who is one of the co-founders, has founded MediaWebView, which is a video surveillance company that was sold in 2007. As for myself, I've been a management consultant for 8 years, and I work for a chocolate manufacturer, leading the startup from the very beginning to a very well-established brand. Max, who is the other co-founder, founded SB3, which is a 3D prototyping company, so he's the one bringing in the knowledge about 3D. And then we have Maurizio Vecchione, who founded Modacab, a company that went public and then was sold, and Wire Rosenthal, who founded Loop Telecom in Spain, which is a DSL provider that was sold in year 2000. So we're now in the process of raising our seed round of $800,000, and we have already half of it has been committed by 2 investors, and we would like to invest the money mainly in marketing and sales. There are 2 people, former entrepreneurs that used to run tech companies and has as customers trade show organizers that we would like to have on board. And the good news is that they know our potential customers personally, and they know how to sell technology to them. So we do believe that they're going to bring in a great deal in terms of how to implement our business plan for the next year. So this is Hyperfair. Thank you very much, and I'd like to welcome your questions.
So, any questions? Yeah.
There's nobody else? You had the beautiful competitive analysis, and you were talking about the copycats. I was just wondering, what are the barriers you have implemented around your solution to prevent the copycats from copying the next generation product which is used?
Yeah, it's a completely different technology, and their technology is basically a website with webcasting technology. Ours is a 3D girl that reminds more of a video gaming technology, and it took us about 10 people for 18 months developing the platform to put it together.
Simon, you have a question?
Yeah, I actually used, I think I must have used Unifair for a trade show in the photography business. And actually the ROI was really good. I think we got something like 2,000 leads from it. It converted pretty well. What I liked about Unifair was that it was very simple for us to implement because we just had to have some video and some content and you pick a basic booth. With the 3D technology, does that create a lot more overhead for the user or for the exhibitor? To sort of implement, or is it, how are you attacking that?
Yeah,
Could you repeat the question, please, Andrea?
Yeah, he was asking what's the difference between Hyperfair and Unisphere, because he used Unisphere before, and he says it was very simple from the exhibitors and attendees standing point. And my take on that is that with us, you will go through exactly the same process. So you will upload all of your marketing materials, and if you're an exhibitor, it will take you from 5 to 10 minutes to get your booth done. But in addition, on top of that, you will be walking around in a 3D world. So unfortunately, we weren't able to see the video, but you had to think about Hyperfair as a sort of a second life for the trade show industry. So same process, but
So
you get a lot, very simple.
Great. Thanks, Andrea. Next, we'll have Kim with We Teach Me.
Hello, does this work? Can everyone hear me? Okay. Every advancement in mankind has been due to a quantum leap in education and knowledge. Now, we live in a really interesting time in the sense that every single thing that we could ever want to learn is literally a single click of a button away. But what's the inherent problem in this? People are finding it increasingly frustrating to find the content that they want. Also added to this fact, because the content online is catered to the average person, people are missing out on that individualized learning experience, that nuanced learning experience that creates the retention. So people are craving for that real-life human-to-human connection. And so people are going into real life to find the teachers. But the actual process of finding a teacher and then screening that teacher is equally as frustrating. Now on the flip side, if you are a person with domain expertise and you want to transfer that knowledge to another person, the actual process of doing so is very complicated. You can often feel like you're standing on the edge of a cliff. You have to book a classroom, you have to find your students, you have to market to your students, you have to handle the booking, you have to run the class, and at the end of that you have to wrap up everything. It's too complicated, it's too inefficient, it's too time consuming, it's not financially viable for the majority, it's too much. So now that we have the problem, what's the solution? I think I might have the answer to that. We Teach Me is an online marketplace for face-to-face lessons, face-to-face classes. Now for the user that jumps onto the We Teach Me platform, the actual process of finding a teacher and then screening that teacher is efficient, it's effortless, and it's safe. Now for someone who wants to teach a class to another person, we handle everything from the booking, the marketing, the sales, the payment, every single part of that transaction, so they can focus purely on what they already know and what they're passionate about. So we started with university students. Now these are people who are comfortable with embracing online platforms such as We Teach Me. They're familiar with payment processes online and they're interested in skilling up. From university students, we expanded to your local businesses. Now your 9-to-5 florist can now run We Teach Me classes, can teach between 5 to 30 students at $50 a class or however they want to price it. At the end of 1 to 2 hours, they could be making between $500 to $1,500. What we have found, and what they have found also, is that We Teach Me is a viable source of secondary income. And they are using our platform because it's effortless for them. We've made the entire transaction frictionless. And because of that, what they have asked, one of the things that they have asked us to do is to handle the entire payment process for them. So every time there is a transaction on We Teach Me, we take 15% off the top. So the 15%, all the payment is handled up front, it's all automated. Now what we have also found with We Teach Me is that the marketing costs is essentially, the teacher doesn't have to market their classes, and we don't have to market their classes for them. We've sold out workshops purely by the fact that we've implemented social sharing into every key transaction on WeTeachMe. When a user books a class, the user shares the WeTeachMe class to his or her Facebook page, or Facebook wall and Twitter feed, so he or she can bring in friends into the learning experience, because that enhances that person's learning experience. When a teacher creates a class, the teacher also is incentivized to share the class to his or her Facebook wall and Twitter feed to bring in the students. So what WeTeachMe does is we leverage every person's brand, every person's reputation and social network to really have this reach effect. And what we have found is that there is building momentum. So the first day, we had a few tweets about WeTeachMe. By the end of the week, we had over 80 tweets. And this is growing at an exponential rate. Let's use Australia as an example. Last year alone, $6.2 billion in revenue was generated in the alternative education sector. Out of that $6.2 billion, $1 billion was pure profit. And this is based on a very inefficient model. We believe that with WeTeachMe, we can increase our profit share than other legacy systems by essentially removing the cost of running your own class or workshop. We essentially open up the market to anyone here who can teach a passion or a skill. The power of the platform, we believe, is in democratizing education. So because the teachers can now make a viable secondary source of income, they're incentivized to run more classes. And when they run more classes, they increase their revenue. And because they increase their revenue, so does WeTeachMe. Now, if you look at the online space, online education is booming. Our biggest competitor is a New York City-based startup called Skillshare, who recently closed around $3.1 million in funding. Based on our experience, we believe that we can make more money per transaction than any other competitor out there because we market our classes for the higher-end professional market. We've built a team of people who are experts in the education and learning space, who understand intimately the interplay of how this works. On top of that, we have a fantastic board of advisors who are all influential and thought leaders in the education, learning, and alternative learning space. When we come to the US, we're looking to add to our skill set US-specific expertise. So what we're asking for is $3 million. So this can fuel our growth, accelerate sales, and increase our marketing. We're finishing the deployment across all Australian cities, and then we're coming to the United States. Based on our estimates, we can reach $1 million in revenue within 12 months and then shortly after become profitable. Now, what's interesting so far is that I did say that WeTeachMe is an online marketplace for face-to-face lessons, but we're so much more than that. Because not only have we enabled every single person to find whoever it is that they want to learn really easily, we've enabled every single person here to teach whatever they want at a simple click of a button. Over 50% of WeTeachMe users are coming back to the website to book multiple classes. But not only that, what they're booking are classes that are completely unrelated to each other. We've had people who've booked self-defense classes, fitness classes, and then gamification startup classes. So what we are finding is that people are establishing a trust and a relationship with WeTeachMe, which extends beyond the single one-off transaction. What we're also finding is that the teachers and the learners are one and the same. We've taken this notion of what makes a teacher and what makes a learner and thrown it out the door. Because we think that if you can learn something, you can also teach something. And some of our learners have also become teachers. So what we've essentially done is we've created an ecosystem of an ever-expanding teaching and learning loop. So WeTeachMe, an online marketplace for face-to-face classes, but so much more. And all of this is available at a simple click of a button. So if you're interested to learn more, please do come up to me and talk to me, and we'll have a conversation. Thank you.
Any questions for Kim?
Oh, perfect.
There must be someone who wants to learn here. Sure.
You talked $3 million sounds like a lot to raise. Can you talk about the use of the proceeds, please?
Yes. So We do have financials that we can show you, but what we've done is we've based our revenue estimates very conservatively, and we've priced our expenses very high. So then we essentially have padding fat, so we know that there's space that we can work with if we do run out of money, which we don't think we will. But these are based on very conservative estimates, and we've been very generous with the amount.
Can you give me some specifics? You're raising $3 million. You say you hope at the end of 1 year to be able to gross $1 million. Tell me what you're going to use the money for.
We need to expand very quickly. So what we're doing is we understand with WeTeachMe, it's because it's GPS located and you're looking for classes around your locality, or if you're teaching people, students, you need to be around your locality. What we need to do is we need to extend our reach as quickly as possible. So we do this with an ambassador program. So what we do is we see the WeTeachMe brand in every university across the United States. And to do that, we need to extend our offices, we need to get the key people in to make sure we can hit the ground as fast as possible. Because our competitor is moving fast and we want to move faster.
So I think the question is that enough money? And the answer is, you're not sure, but...
We believe it's more money than we need.
No, that wasn't the question. The question was how much of it is going to go to marketing, how much is going to go to...
Sounds like all of it goes to marketing.
Right, but we can talk about that offline.
Of course.
Anyone else? Great, thanks again, Kim.
That was easy.
Okay, next we'll hear from Michael from Call Trunk.
Hi, good afternoon. Excuse me, my voice is a little shot after talking for 2 weeks in Silicon Valley. My name is Michael Dillon. I'm the CEO of Call Trunk. Call Trunk is a voice communications play based in the cloud. We've got a singular focus. We launched on July 1st, 2011, of providing voice. It's searchable as content versus just a transfer. You know, what we think about is the problem that we thought about was why aren't phone calls as easy to search through and capture as email or text? And there's some pretty good reasons for that. Hang on a second. First one's going to be learning how to use the remote. What did I do wrong?
This one right here.
So, treating voice as content versus a signal, that's a new objective, a new thing that's being talked about. Why is that something that's being talked about? Well, because there's a lot of communication that happens over the phone now. If you think about what part of your day you spend on the phone versus email versus text. And then the next piece of that is being able to search through it. It's great to be able to capture the voice, but you certainly want to be able to get back to the place where you might have said something that you'd like to go back over. And then finally, it's the technology piece of it. You want to be able to get to it in a way that is fairly ubiquitous. So in terms of capturing it, what we've got right now is we're able to capture a phone call on any phone. That includes Skype. We've got native applications on every mobile platform. And we've got, you know, the ability to take those phone calls and put them either in our cloud or yours. We just finished an integration with Evernote, Box.net. Box gave us a little nod there for the top 10 app. And then finally, when you've done all that and you put it someplace, we want you to be able to search on it. We want you to be able to get at it, and we want you to be able to do that either on the web or on the thing that you probably use the most, and that's your smartphone. But you might be saying to yourself, is it legal? Yes. Is it ethical? Yes. Is it socially acceptable? Now, this is an interesting point, and I think this is why we're at a good place in the market and with our technology. You know, these are fairly common questions that I get asked, and you know, privacy now is a little different than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And you know, there was a study that was done almost by magic. I was pretty happy with this person at Cornell. It said people are 50% more likely to lie to you on the phone than any other form of communication. 50%. And the reason why is because there's physical distance and it's real-time communication. The way you can reduce that, we should have paid for that study, How do you reduce that to almost zero? You tell them you're recording the call. And so that's really where we're coming from. This doesn't have to be a secret. I tell people all the time when we're having a conversation right at the beginning, look, I'm recording this call. Okay with you? We have beeps and pre-recordings and things like that you can set for your mobile phone. But it's interesting to note how different the conversation, what happens and the different dynamics of it when you tell people that. So where do we fit in? Well, in terms of our technology, as I said before, we're a cloud-based technology. So we've got unified storage. We work off of our good friends at Amazon. We've got a proprietary piece of routing software that allows us to capture the call without having to get involved with the device. I was going to say in between devices, but it's a little bit more than that. And then after we've done that and we stored the call and put it in unified storage, we've got a wrapper around that particular component that allows you to go out and find it. So that's allowed us to do some really fun things here since July 1st. We've done integration with Box.net. We did an integration with Sugar CRM. We did an integration with Evernote. We've got a Skype softwareless call recorder. We've got a Mac app. We've got a really fun little Chrome toolbar. This is the, from my perspective, I've been in this business for 20 years. We did this all, just as an example, the Sugar CRM integration, we did it in 4 days. You got to have your market size slide, so there it is. It's a big market. Our business model, oh, well, that's an eye chart. Our business model, user acquisition. So clearly we've got a lot of alliances that we feel we add value to. We add value to those alliances because we're doing product upsell. If you're a Box.net or Evernote or SugarSync app, what you want people to do is fill up their storage box. It's really hard to do that with Word and Excel documents. It's very easy to do that with a 50 megabyte call, which is our average call. PR, integrations, and word of mouth. That's been really successful for us. So as I said before, we captured on any device, your home phone, your Skype, smartphones, we don't care. How are we going to make money? That's probably really important for everybody in the audience. So we're going to make money off the subscriptions. We're going to make money off of referrals. We're going to make money by doing licensing deals. And then somewhere in the distant future, there's an advertising play. The enhancements, we've got a lot of thoughts about what you could do if you were able to take your voice call and turn it into content. Archive it, index it, search it, and some other stuff that's coming down the pike. And then finally, so this is a big problem with telephony plays, is how do you keep your customers? And even if you're the latest and greatest cloud-based telecommunications play, that's something you still have to think about. And what we feel and what we've learned over the last, we started beta in January, and our 20,000 users, we've had an incredibly low rate of churn. And that is because we're sticky. You've got your phone calls in there, and it's unlikely you're going to move to somebody else even if you could. And we want to provide a really fantastic experience. I mean, technology is great, but you've got to give users a nice, simple, friendly interface, particularly when you're talking about something that's fairly disruptive. Competitive landscape, sure, there's going to be new entrants. There's this little thing called Twilio, but there's a difference between building an app on top of an existing telephony platform and what we've done. So we built a native platform. We plan to push that native platform quite hard. We're available beyond the U.S. Right now, we're launched in the UK and Australia as well, and we can turn it up just as quick as we feel like it in other markets where we've really understood the customer development profile. And then churn, as I mentioned before, we feel like we're very sticky because we've got people as other plays, i.e. Evernote, we've got stuff that people care about. Slow initial growth. Well, that's always a big problem. Distribution's a big deal for software businesses. We think we're going to solve that, and we are solving it by finding alliances where it makes sense for the alliance and it makes sense for us. So product upsell, incremental revenue, customer lock-in, really value enhancing between both parties. And finally, the existing, the existing group is both good and bad for us. The bad part is they're going to take a stab at it, but it does require a complete transformation of the platform. We all come out of the telephony background. I understand exactly what's involved. The good news is that's a potential exit. Our top 5 learned thus far. You know, there's a lot of pent-up demand. In fact, we've got a lot of, our early adopters are journalism, HR, legal. I've got another slide in here, small business. And we are getting more and more interesting use cases by the day. The question that we struggle with is how to effectively harvest that, because as I'll show you later, it's not something everybody wakes up and says, gee, I should be doing that. People use the service more than we thought they did, which is really good news. We like that a lot. We want to know more about why they use it. Pricing telephony is a challenge. We don't want to have 6 different levels of subscription. We want to have something simple, easy, that everybody can get their head around. API integrations are fast, really fast. And so that opened up our entire universe of things that we want to get involved with. And then finally, you know, the initial skepticism goes like this from a referral basis. Somebody says, hey, I'm using Call Trunk, it's really fantastic, easy to use, it's good quality call. You should try it too. You know, the user says, well, I didn't realize I needed this. I think similar to some, you know, back in the day where you thought you had to have a USB drive to move your files around. And then they use it and they exclaim sort of, wow, it actually works. And then they tell somebody else. And that's essentially how we've gotten to the number of users we've gotten to on $15,000 in marketing. As I said before, these are early Call Trunk adopters. Some numbers, we're asking for $1.5 million. 70% of that is for distribution. 10% of that is for R&D. We've already spent $700,000 ourselves on getting it right. And the rest is for operations. This is a cloud-based play. Direct sales isn't in our DNA. It's about going out and forming some key relationships with the right groups. And just some basic numbers, user numbers that we've collected. And I have to say, I'm a former scientist type guy, and it's I take those numbers with a grain of salt, but they sure are great numbers to have coming out of the chute. We're going to have a couple more months to get that right. That's us. All hardcore, long-term telephony call center folks. Several exits in there. I'm a serial entrepreneur. We've been there and done that and understand most of the pitfalls. So what's next? Keyword search, more integrations, as I said, more territories. And then clearly we've got all this data, and I'm thinking there's probably something good to do with it. I'd show you a demo, but I think you're welcome to go out to our site, sign up, it's a piece of cake, username, password, and use it yourself. It's the best demo in the world. If you'd like, give me an email. I'm michael@calltrunk.com. I will send you the link so you can see the demo yourself. And I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks a lot.
So any questions for Michael? And you are being recorded.
Yeah.